based on our buyers' prices, we would have around $1,140 in materials for that whole stack of desktops. Today we're going to discuss a hard decision that comes in. It's a good decision to have, but it is a hard one nonetheless. Sometimes when you get really nice conditioned desktop computers in, laptop computers in, that aren't the top of the tier, but are, still have secondary market value, you've got to really manage and weigh the time that you're going to put into it versus the profits that you're going to get. So right now it's a great example that I want to share with you. We have many desktops that came in. Everything looks good and clean. There's a market for them. They range from $60 to $40 depending on the RAM, and none of these have hard drives. So we got to talking about what would we have to do, what kind of work would we need to put into it. So a couple considerations. One, the market demand. How often are they selling? What are they selling for? And with desktops, you have to bubble wrap them. You have to really put a lot of attention into shipping it so it's not damaged. And all those materials and all that time takes money. The bubble wrap isn't free, the boxes aren't free for the most part, and the labor isn't free to put it in the box and wrap it up all nice and tidy. Now also there's risk in shipping. You could get damaged, it can get lost, and then you have returns issues and things like that. When you sell on eBay, you have buyers that may not be happy and will return something, and eBay doesn't do much to stop it, so you have to pay for that shipping when people return. So we got to doing the math, and it looks like the best option is to break these down as quickly as possible and then sell the component parts. Now right now, these are i5 8th generation and i5 7th generation CPUs. They range about 8 gigabytes of RAM per unit, although we have pulled 16 gigabytes out of one unit, so I'm guessing maybe 25% of them will have a little bit more RAM in it. Again, there's no hard drive, so there's no value in that. But we're getting right now for i5 8th generation CPUs, we're getting $40 per CPU, and for 7th generation we're getting $20. So these are essentially $20 and $40 bills just for the CPU. So what we're going to do is we're going to break them down as quickly as possible, take out all the RAM, take out all the CPUs, and then get a general weight of value. So your scrap value right now, steel, because of the tariffs, steel is really nice, the prices we're getting. And that this can all be measured, all be weighed, and you can make educated, informative decisions based on profit. So let's get started. The quick way to break these down is we have this blue tab. We're just going to slide off this metal slab. Again, steel, shred, not bad prices right now. So in order to take everything else out, you have to take off the plastic face, which is just 3 clips. This is plastic, this is trash. Then you're left with where the hard drive would go, which is now empty. Kind of lift up, and when they design these computers, they give visual cues. Dell's uses blue. So if it's blue, it usually moves. It's usually a handle or something like that. So in order to sell these CD drives, which we do have a buyer for CD drives, CD/DVD, it would need to be separated from the case. This is weight. This goes in its own box. We fill up Gaylords full of this stuff. And I don't remember the price that we're getting, but it's not bad. It's worth it. It's better than shred. And then what you want to do is you want to take off the power supply, which is 3 screws in the back. And my editor keeps telling me not to talk when I'm screwing, so I'm going to listen to him. Usually there's a little blue tab or some kind of tab you push down to get it out in the front. Just be careful. And remember, always wear safety gloves while you're working. So the fans next. We do have a buyer for fans, but with shred being what it is and the prices, it takes too long to fill a Gaylord up with these fans, and that Gaylord takes up real estate in our warehouse, and we just don't think it's worth it. So our shred buyer actually doesn't mind that there's a little plastic on here because they're going for the copper coil and they'll just pay shred for it. Got the heat sink, simple plastic. If you don't take off these metal, steel pins, you would put it in dirty aluminum. And we found a nice little quick way to take these off. Unfortunately, we don't have it here. It's at our other location. But what it is, it's when you're at a gym and you're like at a row machine and using the weights, those weights are plates and they have holes in it for the wires to go through. And if you find any of those plates in the scrapyard, it's great to stack a couple of them because they're steel. You can put these right down into the hole of the plate, hammer down on it, and the little pin snaps and it comes right out. Okay, so we're going for the RAM sticks. These are 8 GB RAMs, PC4, 8 GB RAM, PC4. So we did find a 16 GB PC4, 8 gigs, and 4 gigs for desktops. They both have a secondary market. You're going to want to keep these and sell them as lots. Okay, this is kind of where we're at. It's just the motherboard and some wires. And you got to always remember to take the battery out, and then we have our CPU. So right now I'm going to go ahead and take the CPU out so I don't disturb it or damage it while I'm doing the rest of the work. While it's locked in, there's a little metal plate that goes across it. While it's locked in, I want to take off as much paste as I can, just naturally. It's a little harder to do when it's in your hand, and you might damage it, the MLCCs on the back. So I leave it in the plate. Then I unlock it, and then I take it out. And you can see it is a nice 8th gen i5 8500, 40 bucks. All right, now we're just down to the wire. Sometimes when a motherboard won't come out, you think you've got every screw, it's always user error. It's never the design of this. So you can tell this little riser right here, it's kind of like a brass, maybe a zinc plated brass riser. You've got to unscrew that one in order to get the motherboard out. Now, some folks have i-series motherboard buyers. Used to have one, but they're no longer buying the i-series boards. They're treating it just as motherboard. So I would take a little extra precaution if we still had that buyer, but since we don't, it's just going to be basically scrap. Oh, one more screw. Are you having to take off the back plate or anything? Oh yeah. And sometimes there'll be little hidden screws, a back plate keeping things near the I/O shield. Alright. I feel like something else is holding it down, but I can't seem to find it. Have you taken a motherboard out? Is it this guy?
It probably is.
Yep, that was it. It's got a very random looking screw. Here's the difference. These are the obvious screws holding down the motherboard, and then there's this little hidden, smoother, low profile one. There's only one of them. So if you're getting frustrated because things won't come out, there's always a hidden screw. So don't forget, take out your battery. I'll get that later. And then you've got an i-series motherboard, still usable, still in decent condition, but like I said, unfortunately we don't have buyers, but I'm going to set it aside. Man, this is awesome. Then the plastic plate, then the Dell blue hard drive, then the CD drive, shred. Then I'm going to secure the RAM again. We want to make sure we secure the things that make us the most money first and that we don't damage them. It's not like a treasure hunt. You never know what you're going to get either. Alright, 8 GB DDR4, 8 GB DDR4. So again, two big winners. So Riley's birthday was back. Well, it's like the concert's coming up. We should probably get tickets, because I always get tickets at the last minute because it's the best deals.
Yeah.
And there's this band that $40, make you holla. Yeah, it's always some hidden screw. You know, it's like, oh, and the riser is what always gets me. I always forget that. Are you taking out the batteries too?
Yeah.
Okay. This one's a little different. I guess it's a different model.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we've got a little different one here. It is the Dell i5 inside, and it's a Optiplex 5040. Same principle. Removing the front plate. Again, removing the CD player. Relatively simple. Alright, going ahead and getting the RAM out so we don't damage it. And we're looking at 4 gigabytes here. So we've got these little handles, I guess. Pull it? Okay, nice. So this one has a heat sink that is, not only does it have the pins, the 4 pins, it's got the fan screwed on top of the heat sink. And you have to have a very fine point Phillips head to get that screw out of there. So a lot of times you take your snips and you break off the corners, and then you can unscrew them if you're going for the full value of the aluminum. But we put this in dirty aluminum and don't touch it any further. I'll go grab it. Okay. This one is an a Core i5 6500. So it's a 6th gen i5 worth $20 from our buyer. And the way we do it on the buying is our buyers, we don't, if this computer was waterlogged, crushed, or had a note on it that said not working at all, we would dive in a little bit further to try to diagnose things. But when things come in that are in perfect condition, that clients just are upgrading their systems, we'll sell the CPUs to them, and then they'll let us know, hey, 1 out of the 20 or 1 out of the 100 didn't work, and then we'll just offer a refund proportionate to the size of the order. And that saves a lot of money over time on testing every little thing. And when you have buyers that you like and you enjoy working with and you trust, it works out. Loose wires off. Still an I-series board, and you know it's an I-series board because the CPU socket has 2 L's. It's like a double L on the reflector of the gold. I don't know if that's showing up or not, but if it's 2 L's, it's an I-series board. Okay, so the math is in. We spent 2 hours and we broke down 34 desktop units. And so we took the weight of the shells, the weight of the motherboards, the weight of the CDs, the dirty heat sinks, the power supply units with wire, the number 3 mixed computer wire, 4 gigabyte RAM, 8 gigabyte RAM, and then the CPUs, the 6500s, 7500s, and 8500s. And we did all that math based on our buyers' prices, and we would have around $1,140 in materials for that whole stack of desktops. That's if we scrapped them. Again, it took 2 hours. If we were to relist those, we give about 15 to 20 minutes for cleaning and diagnosis for each unit. So that would be 34 units. So that comes out to about 11.2 hours of labor. Listings, we do about 15 minutes per listing. You need minimum of, how many pictures on eBay do they recommend?
8.
8 pictures minimum. Getting all the different angles, the SKU sheets, around 15 minutes per desktop listing. The storage on your shelf, time and space equals money. And these do not fit in this small drawer. They take up a lot of square footage on the shelves. And you're gonna have to do that math yourself based on what your rent is and how much storage that you have. But ours turned out to be, the time and space formula turned out to be about $100, and that's 7-day auctions to put them there. It's not guaranteed they're all going to sell at the same time, so we did 2 weeks, actually 15 days, a half a month at our rent at the square footage that they took. The packing and material, it's about 15 minutes per desktop to pack, and we add about $2 per desktop in materials. That's bubble wrap, tape, boxes, things like that, labels. It all adds up. It all costs money. And then the risk. We added about 5 to 7% return loss or damage rate. The UPS and the post office, they just don't care about your package, and they'll throw things around, and things all the time show up damaged where people want a slight refund for damaged corners, or it just gets lost altogether, and you have to take the loss on that. So if we would have sold all of the 6 generations, we after profits, we're thinking $28 is fair. That's after fees. 7th generation is $48 around there, and 8th generation is around $58 after fees. That's really on the generous side because I wanted to have a really best case scenario comparison. And with the labor, we're looking at about six, and labor is going to depend on your area, what you pay, how many people you have working, but it's about $625 in labor, about $90 in average damages and returns, and about $160 or $168 in materials and space for these units. So we would have sold them for around $1,672, and that would be our gross. And then we would minus $883 in expenses, labor, materials, things like that. So roughly around $789 of profit after they're all gone. And with scrap, we have, in just the weight and what we know our buyers will pay, we've got $1,140, and then our time is going to be deducted at $50. And since all of these shells are just joining the piles that we already have going out to the shredder, to the scrapyard, I'm not counting additional time to take those into the scrapyard, but we did add 15 minutes basically to sort everything between the two of us. And the profits from that are $1,090. So that's a big difference between $1,090 and $789. And we just basically broke them down and didn't worry about them and moved on. We have shelf space for other things, or they're more important, higher paying items like laptops or better generation desktops. And I think we made the right call by breaking these down. It's not always easy. You want to try to save things, you want to try to rehome things, you want to refurbish them. And yes, every once in a while is very much worth it touching it, but time, space is money. Remember that. And again, your numbers will change based on your labor and your time, but just wanted to give a general understanding about when things come through the door, you got to look at value, you got to look at what what you have going on in the rest of your business, what are your other priorities, and balance it to the most profitable things, and this turned out to be the most profitable call. I forgot to show you my favorite part is going to be the breakdown. We were able to get $11.16 out of the shells, which is pretty cool. The motherboards were almost $100 at $99. The CD drums, only $2.40. We don't get a whole lot for those. The dirty heat sinks netted about $11.82. PSU with wire is about $21.50. Number 3 wire was under $6. We're going to get $64 for the 4 GB RAM. We're going to get $90 for the 8 GB RAM. For the 6500 i5s, we're going to get $34 for them. For the 7500 i5s, we're going to get $480 from those. And then from the 8500 CPUs, we're going to get 320 of them. So I wanted to share that with you because I love seeing how everything kind of breaks down and doing all that nerd stuff.